If you want your wedding to be a happy and disaster-free event, then don't have it in a WWE ring. From heart attacks to jilted ex attacks to literal hellfire, everything that could go wrong at these weddings did. Few couples in pro wrestling have drawn more money than Miss Elizabeth and the Macho Man Randy Savage. Slotting the boisterous Macho Man with the elegant and soft-spoken Elizabeth, who were already a couple in real life, was a genuine stroke of booking genius. Their on-screen story, which lasted for several years, was rife with twists and turns and heartbreaks. It was the perfect mix of pro wrestling and soap opera drama. Following his heel run as the Macho King and his tearful reunion with Elizabeth at WrestleMania 7, Savage finally popped the question.
It's okay for macho men to show every emotion available right there, because I've cried 1,000 times, I'm going to cry some more.
The much-hyped ceremony was dubbed the Match Made in Heaven and took place in-ring at SummerSlam 1991. Surprisingly, standard wrestling goofiness aside, the ceremony itself went off without a hitch, a true rarity given the nature of most wrestling weddings. But during the reception, things truly went to hell, courtesy of one Jake the Snake Roberts. A snake popped out of a gift left for Savage and Elizabeth right before Roberts and The Undertaker attacked the Macho Man. This madness is what kicked off Savage and Roberts' now legendary feud that included a cobra biting Savage. In the late 90s, The Undertaker had taken on an occult edge, forming a sinister cult known as the Ministry of Darkness. Taker and his new legion of brainwashed zealots wreaked havoc on Raw, attacking Stone Cold Steve Austin and even targeting the McMahon family. Stephanie McMahon even ended up in the crosshairs of the Ministry, leading to her kidnapping. Following the famous Where To Stephanie segment at Backlash 1999, the billion-dollar princess found herself as an unwilling bride. Strapped to the Ministry's bizarre symbol in a crucifixion-like pose, Stephanie was set to be married to Taker live on Raw. Despite the likes of Big Show and Ken Shamrock trying to make the save, it seemed as though Stephanie's fate was sealed. But Austin, a longtime enemy of her father, Vince McMahon, opted to do the right thing and come to the rescue. Stone Cold stormed the ring and took the fight to Taker, saving Stephanie in the process. Stephanie tearfully hugged him before reuniting with Vince, who begrudgingly thanked the Texas Rattlesnake for his help. Stephanie McMahon and Test were presented as an on-screen item for a majority of 1999, resulting in a feud between Test and Shane, Stephanie's brother. Following his victory in a Love Her or Leave Her match against Shane at SummerSlam, Test and Stephanie were free to keep seeing each other. Following a few mixed tag team victories, the happy couple was set to marry on the November 29th, 1999 edition of Raw. However, before they could seal the deal, Triple H arrived on stage to reveal he had a surprise. The game revealed some footage of him taking a drugged and unconscious Stephanie to a drive-through wedding chapel in Las Vegas. Let's be very clear. You can't marry someone without their consent. But that didn't seem to matter to Triple H, who was just beaming that he'd conned his way into the McMahon family. This was later revealed to be a part of a long-term plan forged by Triple H and Stephanie, who would turn heel alongside her new hubby. In an instance of life imitating art, what began as a twisted on-screen romance between Triple H and Stephanie McMahon soon morphed into a real-life relationship and eventual marriage. Their storyline marriage was still very much in effect well into the 2000s, when their roles within the company were expanding. Following the events of the WCW invasion, Stephanie was banished from WWE television and Triple H returned from a long absence due to a quadriceps injury. Triple H returned to a hugely positive reaction and was presented as a babyface. He even clashed with Stephanie upon her return to weekly television. To keep Triple H wrapped around her finger, Stephanie lied and told her husband that she was pregnant. The couple were then set to renew their vows on a 2002 episode of Raw. It'd be here that Triple H revealed he knew of Stephanie's ruse and soundly broke off the relationship, leaving Stephanie in shambles. Following the misfire that was the WCW invasion storyline, many former Alliance members found themselves slotted into new roles. WCW alumni Chuck Palumbo began tagging with Billy Gunn, formerly of D-Generation X. Gunn seemingly joined the team as an act of defiance towards the Alliance for curbing him. Though originally presented as heels, the duo soon began to win over the crowd with their chemistry and charm. The two seemed to show genuine affection for each other, even sporting matching red headbands and bleached blonde hair. Though it was never explicitly stated, it seemed as though Billy and Chuck were more than just tag team partners. For the early 2000s, this was a surprising amount of LGBTQ representation for WWE, who'd previously used gay characters as a punchline. Outsports notes that the Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation, or GLAAD, even consulted with WWE on the storyline. The duo held a commitment ceremony on SmackDown, and that's where everything went wrong. Billy and Chuck revealed they were not gay and did the entire thing for increased media attention. In another ridiculous twist, the ceremony's officiant was revealed to be Raw General Manager Eric Bischoff in makeup. Bischoff then unleashed 3-minute warning on SmackDown General Manager Stephanie McMahon, ending the segment. GLAAD felt used, and years later, the whole angle is still viewed quite negatively. Palumbo told Chris Van Vliet that he and Gunn didn't know that ending was where the storyline was headed.
And we didn't know that was the end goal in the beginning.
Okay.
We didn't personally.
From dressing Chavo Guerrero like a white golfer to Brock Lesnar assaulting one-legged wrestlers, the ruthless aggression era had plenty of examples of questionable taste. Case in point, the torrid love affair between Dawn Marie and Al Wilson, the real-life father of Tori Wilson. This romance resulted in several awkward segments where Tori was forced to watch her own father aggressively make out with her in-ring rival. Dawn Marie and Al Wilson tied the knot on SmackDown, with Marie wearing nothing but lingerie and Wilson in his underwear. The storyline reached its climax, no pun intended, when it was revealed that Al Wilson had died in storyline of a heart attack due to excessive lovemaking. Tori would go on to defeat Dawn Marie at the 2003 Royal Rumble in a stepmother versus stepdaughter match, and the real Al Wilson lived until 2019. The Kane, Lita, and Matt Hardy storyline was, to put it politely, extremely uncomfortable. In 2004, Kane began showing a disturbing interest in Lita, Hardy's on-screen and real-life girlfriend, even going as far as to kidnap her. One fateful night on Raw, Kane nearly crippled Hardy, but Lita made the save, simply telling Kane that her answer was yes. What this meant wasn't revealed until Hardy's on-air proposal to Lita, which the Big Red Monster interrupted. Kane revealed that the baby that Lita was said to be carrying was not Hardy's, but his. This led to a Till Death Do Us Part match at SummerSlam 2004, where Lita promised to marry Kane if he won. Despite Hardy's best efforts, Kane was victorious, and Lita was forced into an unholy union with the devil's favorite demon. The ceremony itself was a dramatic affair, complete with a few words from Eric Bischoff and topped off with a surprise attack from Hardy. Hardy got a chokeslam off the stage for his troubles. Kane finished the vows and walked off with his new bride while laughing maniacally. Poor Lita. Poor Matt Hardy too. While Hardy was sidelined with an injury, Lita began having a real-life affair with Edge. When the affair came to light, WWE fired a vengeful Hardy. But soon enough, the company was using this real-life heat for televised drama. Lita turned heel and betrayed her kayfabe husband Kane, aligning herself with Edge. After divorcing Kane, Lita was free to walk down the aisle once again to wed the then Mr. Money in the Bank. The entire ceremony was an intentionally loathsome display from both Edge and Lita. When the officiant asked if there were any objections, Hardy's music hit to a huge ovation. But this was just a cool trick by Edge and Lita. As the ceremony continued, Kane emerged from a hole in the ring and laid waste. The Big Red Machine topped off this vengeful rampage by dropping the officiant with a brutal tombstone piledriver. As easy as it is to make fun of Teddy Long and his meme-worthy catchphrases,
you can believe that, player,
the man has earned his place in wrestling history. That said, Long has been a part of some truly baffling and even downright terrible moments in WWE programming. There was his match with Eric Bischoff at Survivor Series 2005, which was so bad, Dave Meltzer awarded it -1.5 stars. And there was his wedding with Crystal Marshall on SmackDown. After a few weeks of backstage flirting, Marshall ended up telling Long that she was smitten with him, much to his delight. This development led Long to make Vicky Guerrero, an on-screen friend of Marshall, his assistant, basically allowing her to run the show in his absence. Eventually, Long proposed to Marshall, and after she said yes, they set their wedding. But before the two could seal the deal, Long suffered a kayfabe heart attack and collapsed at the feet of his bride-to-be. This development was mainly to make Guerrero the full-time SmackDown general manager, a role she'd devour with gusto. WWE loves its heart attacks at weddings, doesn't it? Edge's second on-screen wedding was definitely less risque than the first, but no less ridiculous. At Survivor Series 2007, Edge returned from injury and cost The Undertaker his world title match with Batista. He soon found himself slotted back into the title picture thanks to Vickie Guerrero, who was revealed to be Edge's new girlfriend through a ton of on-screen flirting. This was truly where Guerrero came into her own as a heel authority figure, rigging matches for her rated R lover boy. Edge ended up marrying Guerrero, with the two set to celebrate their new union on SmackDown. The episode itself was hijacked by their insufferable reception, complete with the Hardy Boys tossing the cake onto La Familia. At the end of the show, the newlyweds soon received a shocking wedding gift courtesy of WWE Champion Triple H. The game, with sledgehammer in hand, revealed a video of Edge making out with his wedding planner, played by a debuting Alicia Fox. Edge was shocked. Guerrero began throwing a fit, and Triple H walked off with a sizable grin on his face. Despite being two of the best performers in the company, Daniel Bryan and AJ Lee were often slotted into some corny storylines. For instance, the two were put into a relationship angle in late 2011. The romance was packed to the brim with staggeringly weird developments, including a love triangle, or really square, between Lee, Bryan, CM Punk, and Kane. Most infamously, a poorly timed kiss between Lee and Bryan resulted in Sheamus beating Bryan for the world title at WrestleMania 28 in 8 seconds. In the aftermath, Bryan disrespected Lee at every turn, often verbally chastising her. It seemed like a breakup was in short order. Instead, the night after his loss to Punk at Money in the Bank, Bryan rebounded by asking Lee to marry him. The wedding took place on the 1000th episode of Raw, and it seemed like Lee and Bryan were set for wedded bliss. But then came the twist. Lee revealed to Bryan that Vince McMahon had offered her the position of Raw general manager. She said she'd accepted the position and left Bryan standing in the ring, flabbergasted. Lana and Rusev's stint in WWE was a bizarre one, filled with unexpected developments both in and outside of the ring. The two were a real-life couple for a significant chunk of their run, but their romance was never confirmed on screen. That is, until the couple's engagement was announced on TMZ in 2015. Seemingly as punishment for breaking kayfabe, a storyline where the two split up began. From there, the couple was subject to all manner of in-ring buffoonery. Rusev, now Miro, described his last run in WWE before jumping to AEW to Renee Paquette.
I think the last year was just like a bunch of I think.
Following some downtime, Lana resurfaced with a new boy toy, Bobby Lashley, in 2019. This led to weeks of bickering between Lana and Rusev and an on-air wedding between Lana and Lashley. The wedding itself somehow fit every WWE wedding trope crammed into one overstuffed segment. Not only did Lana and Lashley's respective exes interrupt, but Liv Morgan walked out to vaguely profess her love for Lana. Top it all off with Rusev popping out of a comically large wedding cake, and you have the makings of some top-shelf shenanigans. It wasn't good, exactly, but it was also hard to look away.